Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting of the Temecula City Council to order. If Mayor Pro Tem Edwards, if you can hear my voice, I know you're somewhere in the building. Is she under the dais? What are you pointing under the dais? Oh, the city manager's not here either. Where is he, Mr. Butler?
I believe he's talking to the Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, well, I hope everything's okay. But we'll go ahead and start the meeting on time. What amazing prelude music by Samuel Bondoc, Joshua Bondoc, and Antoinette Renouf. Excellent job. If you would stand with me, we're going to start our meeting with an invocation. Always good to start with an invocation. I will give that invocation, and that'll be followed by a flag salute to be given by our CAP member, Mr. Hank Hansen. Please bow your heads with me. Heavenly Father, it's your work that we do, and we pray for wisdom, and we pray for guidance. We know on everything that we do we can't please everybody, but we know that if we do the right things, it all works together for good. In your name, amen. Hank, would you come to the microphone and lead us in the flag salute?
Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag? Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You can be seated. Madam City Clerk, it's important that we know that all council members are here, so could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Comachero.
I'm here.
Councilmember Edwards.
Good evening.
Councilmember McCracken.
Here and ready.
Councilmember Ron.
Here.
Mayor Nagar.
Is here. Thank you, everybody. We're going to go to the part of our meeting that has presentations and proclamations. And so our first, we have quite a number of them. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is unusual, but I think they needed to be done because they're timely. So let's go to our first one, which will be presentation of Temecula Police Department K-9 Officer James King and police service dog Boris. Is Boris and Jim here? All right, come on down. We want to meet Boris. Howdy, Officer King. Real well. He looks like he wants to work. All right.
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Yes, sir, Chief Kubel.
As you know, our previous longtime canine handler was transferred at about the time his dog was old enough to retire, so we put the dog into retirement and have a new canine officer and a new police service dog, Boris, and wanted to take the opportunity to introduce them officially to the city and to you. And
Chief, how old's Boris? Come on over to the, or get the mic, if you can give him the hand mic or come to the podium. Tell us a little bit about Boris. What's his breed and how is he trained? And a little about yourself, Officer King.
They always misbehave at just the wrong time.
He might think this in my hand is a toy, so. Boris is a Belgian Malinois. He'll be 2 in October. He comes from us from Holland. And he's trained in Dutch K and PV over in Holland before he comes over to the United States, where we put him through our Canine Academy.
So, Officer King, how may, or Chief Kubel, how may Boris be deployed? How is he a member of the police force?
Well, he can be used to search for evidence. If we have somebody that discards a piece of evidence that runs from us, he can be used to search for that evidence, whether it be a gun, a shirt, a knife, any type of evidence that someone might discard. He is used in building searches. Rather than have 4 or 5 officers go through and search a building, it's a lot more time efficient to have a canine go through and use their nose to search the building to locate anybody inside. And he can also be used to apprehend violent suspects. Rather than have the officers go forward and risk injury to them, he can be used to apprehend them.
Did you always want to be a canine handler? Is this new for you, or is this something you've done before?
I haven't done it before, but I've been, for the past 2.5 years, I've been volunteering my time with the department's canine team in hopes to become a handler one day.
So you landed it, huh?
Yes, sir.
How exciting, how exciting. Chief and Officer King, anything else you'd like to add? Any comments from colleagues? Well, you know what? As far as we're concerned, he's a full-fledged member of the police department and will be treated as such. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You bet. Let's see. You know, this next presentation is one that is a bit special to me. You know, we have a contingent of the Community Action Patrol here, and for those of you who really don't know who they are, that's because they do such a marvelous job, and they, on purpose, try not to stand out. They just do their work. But you know what happens is we started this Community Action Patrol to supplement our officers. So there are times when there's a car accident or some sort of report that would otherwise tie up a normal sworn officer. We can dispatch a CAP officer, and it keeps our officers free to prevent crime and also to chase crime. You men and ladies of the CAP Patrol do a fantastic job. But it's with special honor that I'd like to present a certificate of appreciation to one of the senior members, and that's Mr. Hank Hansen, a gentleman I've known for maybe almost 19 years now. It's funny because Mr. Hansen doesn't just volunteer with CAP Patrol. He directs traffic at my church, and he probably participates in so many nonprofit events. He's here during the Rod Run. He just does so many things. You're the epitome of a community servant. So do you mind coming forward? And Mayor Pro Tem, if you would go down, and I'm going to read this, and then I'd like you to present it to Mr. Hansen, if you would. And you know what? What I think would be very special if your colleagues can join you at the podium as well. Do you folks mind? Because I think you all need to be recognized for the team that you are. Come on down. Members of our Community Action Patrol, ladies and gentlemen. And I will read the proclamation. City of Temecula Certificate of Recognition, presented on behalf of the City Council and the citizens of the City of Temecula to Hank Hansen. The City of Temecula would like to recognize Hank Hansen for his contributions and many years of dedicated service as a senior volunteer to the Temecula Police Department. Since August 2002, Senior Volunteer Hansen has generally volunteered over 14,800 hours with the Temecula Police Department, assisting with many traffic unit-related duties such as radar trailer deployment, radar trailer data analysis, setting up DUI safety checkpoints, and coordinating volunteers for traffic control during traffic and criminal-related incidents and city special events. Senior Volunteer Hansen has provided distinguished public safety volunteer services, which has greatly improved the mission of the Temecula Police Department and the quality of life for the citizens of Temecula. We appreciate your involvement and your many contributions towards serving our community, and we wish you every future happiness and success, sir. Signed, myself as mayor, but certainly endorsed by the whole city council and all the citizens of Temecula. Congratulations, Hank. You're more than deserving. Thank you. You're welcome to say a few words if you'd like.
And he works 2 days a week at Temecula
Just
Valley
very few,
Hospital,
Mike.
too. Temecula Valley Hospital, 2 days a week.
That's correct.
Yes, I mean, and on and on and on.
Pull that microphone close to you, Hank.
Thank you so much for those kind words and this certificate of recognition. Further, I want to thank the council for their support of me and of CAP. Mike, Marianne, Jeff, for many years, and more recently, Michael and Matt. Thank you. Aaron, I also want to recognize you. Thank you, sir. I want to thank Police Chief Captain Kubel and the rest of the Southwest Station Command for their support of me and of CAP. I want to thank my CAP advisors, Sergeant Green and CSO Zachary. And I'd also like to recognize Sergeant Loeffler and Pratt, along with the deputies and CSOs in the traffic division, where I have worked most of the time of my volunteer time. I'd also like to mention my working partners, Jerry Krinsky and Tom Kellerman. Thank you. I don't know if my family showed up tonight or not, but if they're here, thanks for coming. Thank my friends, and thank all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we get a quick picture, Mike?
Absolutely. Yep, on my way down. How do you guys, you want to do that like this?
Is that okay?
Or you want to do it with the whole gang? What's your pleasure?
If that's okay.
Yes, it's all okay. Why don't we step over?
Oh, okay.
Here, why don't we step over here? You get that? Yes.
Wait, it's not over. No, it's not over.
Can you guys see over me okay? There you go. And one more, just be sure.
Nice picture.
Got it.
Thank you. I'm surprised. That's a first.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, over the past 6-7 years, we've been named the second safest, fifth safest, and most recently the 20th safest city in the nation. We got an excellent police department, but they're every bit of responsible for it as well. So, CAP members, all of you that are here, send our thanks to the rest of the troops. Chief, can you make sure that gets out? Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Moving on to the next presentation. Another certificate of recognition to Toyota of Temecula Valley. Is Tom Rudney here? Tom, are you here? Come on forward.
There he is.
And I have a certificate I'm going to read to you. This is actually very timely. I actually was in your dealership Sunday.
That's what I understand.
That's right, and helped my mother-in-law buy a car, and she was treated like a queen. So it's our pleasure here to read this. City of Temecula, certificate of recognition. And by the way, the place was packed. You were selling some cars. Yeah, it was amazing. Okay. Certificate of recognition, presented on behalf of the City Council and the citizens of the City of Temecula to Temecula Valley Toyota. Temecula Valley Toyota boasts many successes since being purchased by Tom Rudney in July 2014. Temecula Valley Toyota brought in over $302 million in revenue, increased the number of employees 47% from 144 to 212, and has a 4.5 Yelp and a 4.7 Google rating for online reputation. I can attest to that. The dealership recently completed construction of the interior and exterior showrooms and service and parts area. Temecula Valley Toyota is the top 40 dealer in Prius, that's what she bought, Tundra, and Tacoma sales, and went from ranking 944 in the United States to ranking 58 out of 1,224 dealerships, making it the fastest growing dealership in the United States. Temecula Valley Toyota increased sales efficiency from 52.5% to 100.2%, and the average monthly service repair order count by 76.4%. They were awarded Toyota's Service, Parts, and Customer Relations Excellence Award in 2015 and Toyota Financial Services Ambassador Award. We congratulate Temecula Valley Toyota on its many accomplishments, and we appreciate their commitment to excellence and to providing quality vehicle and service to our community. I think it's very much earned. Mayor Pro Tem, would you please present that?
I think you get 100.2%.
I was wondering that myself. How do you get 100.2%?
How do you get it?
Yes.
Efficiency?
Yes.
It's basically the amount of Toyotas you sell in your primary market area versus the other makes and models.
And tell us a little bit how you've achieved what I just read. And pull that microphone close to you, would you?
It's all people. Just like the city, just like the police department, we have great people. We've increased. We're actually now almost 220 people. Thank you very much. Thank you.
102. 100.2.
Yes. So it's all about the people. We had an opportunity to buy the dealership. It was performing well, but we knew it was underperforming. And we've had an opportunity not only to, we kept the people that were on board to begin with, but then we've brought in some great people. We've put together great processes. We've created a culture that our employees have embraced. And I had an opportunity before buying this. I ran a company called Longo Toyota and Longo Lexus in El Monte. We're the largest Toyota Lexus store in the United States, had close to 1,000 people. So had some good credibility, had some great experiences working for a guy named Roger Penske. And we've, again, the culture we brought over here is basically what we built over at Longo. And, the employees embraced it, and it's all about taking care of our team members and then ultimately taking care of our guests.
Question, when you built a culture, a corporate culture like you have, is it safe to say that others are coming from outside of the community to buy cars at Temecula Valley Toyota?
The surrounding community. I mean, we're really focusing on our community and the surrounding communities. We're really not going after the dealerships outside of us, which is really the Escondido, Gosh, Corona. We will at some point, but right now we're just focusing on our backyard, which results in a lot of service business. That's why we're up 74% in fixed operations, because the people that are buying the cars from us live in our area, so they're coming back and servicing with us. Our biggest challenge right now is just space. We're running out of space and hiring more people.
Well, I want to thank you again. The service we experienced seemed to be par for the course while we were at the dealership. Everybody seemed to be happy and just so glad to buy their car, and were treated very well. So obviously your corporate culture is working.
Well, thank you for your support.
If we can ever be of any service, let us know.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you, Council, for the recognition. And I accept this on behalf of our 200 and close to 20 team members. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. A couple more. Let's see. Presentation of National Preparedness Month Proclamation. Captain Matt Hayes here on behalf of Temecula Citizen Corps. Captain, you here? You want to bring the whole gang up with you? Come on down. Let's get Citizen Corps down here. And you know what? We have two outstanding programs. We talked about CAP earlier. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Citizen Corps. I'm going to read this proclamation, but I want you to just tell everybody what Citizen Corps is about when I'm done reading, okay?
Okay.
All right. City of Temecula proclamation. Whereas National Preparedness Month, occurring each year in September, creates an important opportunity for every resident of Riverside County to prepare their homes, businesses, and communities for any type of emergency, including natural disasters and potential terrorist attacks. And whereas investing in preparedness of ourselves, our families, businesses, and communities can reduce fatalities and economic devastation in our communities and in our nation. And whereas injury and loss of life is avoidable when individuals take responsibility for preparing their families and their communities. However, the California Office of Emergency Management estimates that only 30% of Californians are prepared for disaster. And whereas emergency management programs such as Rivco Ready campaign, Federal Emergency Management Agency's Ready campaign, Citizen Corps, and other federal, state, local, tribal, territorial, private, and volunteer agencies are working to increase public activity in preparing for emergencies and to educate individuals on how to take action. And whereas emergency preparedness is the responsibility of every citizen of Riverside County, and all citizens are urged to make preparedness a priority and work together as a team to ensure that individuals, families, and communities are prepared for disasters and emergencies of any type. And whereas the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, has announced the 2016 National Preparedness Month theme of Don't Wait, Communicate, Make Your Emergency Plan Today. And whereas all citizens of Riverside County are encouraged to prepare an emergency communication plan, participate in a citizen preparedness activities, and visit the county's preparedness campaign website at rivcoready.org for important preparedness tips and information. Now, therefore, I, Michael S. Nagar, on behalf of the City Council of the City of Temecula, hereby proclaim the month of September 2016 to be National Preparedness Month, and we call on all government agencies, private organizations, and people in business to develop their own emergency preparedness plan and work together toward creating a more prepared society. Congratulations, quite the group we have there. Mayor Pro Tem, would you take that down and present that? Congratulations, number one, and thank you, number two, for all the work that you folks do. Tell us about Citizen Corps and tell us about being prepared.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and honored council members and the rest of our honored guests. I stand before you to receive the proclamation because I couldn't think of one person here to accept it because I thought of everybody. We are a team. That's why we're here. You see here, they're a complete team. And if it wasn't for them, I couldn't be up here. These fine men and women dedicate many hours of training each month and do many things. They know that I get on them to get things cleaned up. And it's been a real honor and privilege to come into this position and get such a fine team. So I have a little PowerPoint, talk about the team a little bit. So,
have at it.
And if you notice, that's our new logo that we came up with for the Temecula Citizens Corps. We wanted to bring it in line with the city instead of being an outside entity. We are inside. We are community members, myself included, and being prepared. So Citizens Corps is a dedicated group of citizen volunteers that assist first responders in the city of Temecula during disasters, man-made or natural. And probably one of the biggest questions that gets asked to me is, well, what do they do in a disaster? Well, they offer aid to those that need basic aid. And that frees up the first responders to help the most desperate of our citizens in their time of need during disasters. So they are out there. Look for the green shirts. So I put together a few little pictures of them at work, and you will find them at many city events, Movies at the Park, the concert series. They set up first aid stations. We're getting them to use their skills a little bit more and get out there. So come by, say hi, and see them. So if anybody's interested in joining, they can go to our website and just Google Temecula Citizens Corps and be able to follow us on Facebook also. And then we are here on the September 1st, starting at 10 a.m. We're going to do a soft opening at the Temecula Valley Museum for National Preparedness Month, and really is going to showcase a lot of what the Temecula Citizen Corps does for you and the citizens of the city. So we appreciate the time that you've given us to present this, and thank you.
Well, I again want to say thank you to everybody. I think, Mr. Comachero, we go back a long way. When we formed Citizen Corps, I think, do we know that date? Mr. Hagel, I think you were involved at the time, weren't you? I think it goes back to 2001, maybe?
It was, yeah, right after 2002, right after 9/11.
Right. And We've referred to it back then as Neighborhood Watch on steroids.
Yeah.
That's right. And so really, anybody can be part of Citizen Corps, couldn't they?
Yes, they can. All they need to do is dedicate some time and get prepared, and that's what these guys do, you know, day in and day out. They're always preparing and taking care of neighbors, and that's what it is. It's neighbors taking care of neighbors. That's why they're here.
So if somebody wanted to start a Neighborhood Watch, it would be almost as good or better to start a Citizen Corps collaboration on their street. Is that fair enough?
Well, that's what we do also. Part of our program under the Citizens Corps is Neighborhood Watch. It's RACES and it is CERT. So if they want to do a Neighborhood Watch, they would contact us and become part of the Temecula Citizen Corps for that. We kind of combine them all together so that there's a little bit of management on that side.
Now, you mentioned RACES. Why don't you go ahead and quickly explain what that is so people know what it is?
Well, I would have to bring up my radio communications guy because they know it better than me. And
Well, no, maybe I can just help you. Bottom line is it's shortwave communication. So in the event of an emergency, we have shortwave radio in which we can communicate, assuming the phone system's down or the cell towers are down. We have the ability to still communicate. Fair enough?
oh, absolutely. I just I turn it over to my experts because they're more they're better versed in it than I am.
No. I just wanted everybody to know what that is. So we have a whole group ready to go into action in case the communication system goes down. Again, the work you do is fantastic. I think we got a good group here. Mr. City Manager, did we get this picture? I think we need to get this picture. Okay, you got it. Excellent. Is there any final words you'd like to say?
No, I appreciate your time in here, and I have to tell you, much like a birthday surprise, I brought them under here under false pretenses, thinking that we were going to present a video because they are as humble as firefighters and don't like to be in the spotlight like this. They want to be private and just kind of work behind the scenes. So I apologize to my TCC members for kind of misleading them, but surprise.
Okay, this is great. This is great because I just so happen, okay, since you were brought here under false pretenses, I just so happen, this is just an opportune moment, to have coupons for free shaved ice from Bahama Bucks, okay? All right, so like this is it. How many, look, count them up. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so about 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
We're going to make it a math class.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Here you go, sir. Okay, I did not know you're going to be here. This is just fortuitous. Bahama Bucks, ladies and gentlemen, they keep telling me, we want to get involved in the community. So they gave me all these to give away. This is the second time. Before that, we gave it to a lot of students in government, a lot of volunteers. So I wish we can give you 100 shave ice each, okay, the type of work that you guys do. But you're just fantastic. Did you want to say something? Oh.
Well, thank you very much.
Did you pick one? Which one of these did you select to step forward and sing the TCC theme song? Did you?
That would be my TCC manager, Diana, so she's got the voice. I'm losing mine, so we do appreciate it. And like I said, if any citizen wants to join us, we are open. There's always a job for somebody, and that's the motto of CERT. Doesn't matter your abilities or lack of abilities, we are open to anybody to be able to come and join. So please go to the website and come join the fun.
I love it.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
All jokes aside, this is another great example of why this is a great city. I mean, you talk about, joining the organization and just volunteering some of your time. That time is so valuable. Just like the captain we have, your team is just as valuable. You take away the resources that the city doesn't want to, shouldn't fund, but everybody that's listening out here in TV land, this is how you join the city and make sure the legacy continues. So people in front of you right now, they don't get paid for this, but they are part of the city's success. So recommend, volunteer, and get involved. So.
Thank you, Mike. Yes, Councilmember Comachero.
Real quickly, when Mike and I formed this group back in 2002, we had a certain vision of what it would become, and I've got to tell you, I think you've fulfilled that vision 102% at least.
Yes.
100.2.
But you've done it fantastically. We couldn't have asked for more, so thank you all, and hi, Fred. So really, congratulations on the job you do, but more importantly, thank you on behalf of all our citizens. It's really great.
Thank you, Councilmember Comachero. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you. All right.
And we have one last presentation. That will be on a fantastic event. This is probably the 4th or 5th year. We'll hear more about it in a second. But that's the TEDx Temecula event. Jim McLaughlin, are you here? Jim, come on up and tell us about TEDx. I think you were here last year and told us about it, but give us a little history and what's going on.
I pop in once in a while. Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor Nagar, council members, city staff, and commissioners. My name is Jim McLaughlin, and I'm proud to call Temecula my home. Thank you for the opportunity to present TEDx Temecula this evening. My intention for the next 4 minutes, or 4 minutes and 45 seconds, is to explain what TEDx Temecula is, share our vision for it, and to ultimately earn your involvement and support, and the support of those who may be watching. So what is TEDx Temecula? TEDx Temecula is a one-day event. You could call it a conference. There are speakers, but there are also entertainers and activities. There's food, and there's wine, of course, because we are the heart of Southern California's wine country. Our speakers mostly come from right here, and that was part of my original conception for this project, is that there are people among us, ordinary people, who are doing extraordinary things, or have an extraordinary idea, or look at the world or a situation in a new way, in a way that has us all go, huh, and has us think differently about things and about ourselves. My challenge to the speakers when I'm working with them is this. I want people to come up to you during the break or after the event and say, my life is never going to be the same because of what you shared with us today. Now, that's a tall order, and we don't always reach that objective, but the feedback we get from our audience validates the quality of the content. And I have data on that, which I'd be happy to share with you later. The second most vital component after the speakers themselves is the engagement that happens at the event. People, their minds having been blown or at least expanded by what they've heard, are eager to engage with each other during the break that we have a long lunch or after the event. This provides audience members with an experience that you don't find in too many other places. You certainly don't find it by watching a TED Talk online at your desk alone when you probably should be working. But nobody does that anymore, right? So beyond the community, our recorded talks have gone online, and we've received around 200,000 views. Our highest ranked talk has received over 136,000 views. Now, that may not stand up well against the likes of Charlie Bit My Finger, but it's reasonable to expect that most of those views come from outside of the valley. And that speaks to the event's reach and why you might see it as important enough to support. It shines a light on Temecula that reaches around the world. We are in our 5th year now, and we achieved a major milestone in moving to the Old Town Temecula Community Theater from the conference center across the hall where we had our first 3 years. That added some cost and some complexity, but also a level of professionalism that we haven't seen before. I have a couple of images I'd like to share with you as we go through. So this is from our first event. We were just getting things going, but we transformed the conference center, I think, pretty well into a nice theater-looking environment. There's the break, there's the food we have, there's some of the engagement. You can see a little wine in the background as well. Certainly not the main point of the event, but it's always nice to have the entire region represented at our event. Some more of the engagement. Then we moved to the theater, and it really added something to have this kind of an experience for the speakers, for the audience, and for the quality of the videos that we were able to produce as a result of that. Activities, our theme last year, because our event was on Halloween, was masquerade. And so we gave everybody name badges that were shaped like little masks and gave them glitter and glue and all that fun stuff and had them decorate their own and personalize their own name badge, which provided some camaraderie, some fun, some laughter, the kinds of things that happen at the event. Speakers, entertainers, Brian Nolan up in the upper right-hand corner there, he at the time was working out of the Entrepreneurs Exchange. He gave a fascinating talk on the human genome and some of the breakthroughs that are right around the corner, made it really accessible to all of us, and that was a real mind blower. On the lower left there is Ingrid Adams. She's 16 years old, and she wanted to talk about how important it is to be heard. And she started out as a very shy person, but then really wanted everybody to know how important it is to get out and speak and be heard. A phenomenal message. There's me thanking our speakers and the volunteers that had to put up with me during the whole project. So what I want you to know is that there's a whole lot more I could share about this, and 5 minutes just goes by so quickly. And I appreciate this opportunity and welcome any avenues that you could provide to us, especially financial, that you could share with me. It's an all-volunteer, non-profit effort, and we strive to keep the ticket prices low so that virtually anybody can attend the event. We'd love to do it for free, but we're just not quite there yet. But with your support and the connections that you can make for us, perhaps that could happen. So I would love to take I'm right at 5 minutes. So thank you for the time to present this information to you. I hope you feel inspired to reach out to me. Oh, wait, you can do that with, there's some more wine and food and some of our sponsors. Our event's October 29th, and there's my contact information should you want to reach out to me at any time in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You put on an excellent program the past 5 years, and TEDx is world-renowned, and thank you for bringing it to Temecula. I might suggest you send the City Council a little email, and you can do that easily, and that would enable us to get to you real quick, okay?
Okay, I will do that.
Then you never know what might happen.
You never know.
Okay.
That's the beauty of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Right. Well, that does it for presentations and proclamations. We're at the public comment portion of our meeting. Madam City Clerk, do we have public comments?
Mr. Mayor, we have 2 public comments.
So that means I have to read the rules. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, while I read the official rules of public comment. A total of 30 minutes is provided. One day I'm going to do this in Shakespeare, but for now I'll do it.
Maybe tonight's the night.
You think?
Sure.
Okay. All right. I like that. Alas, dear lad, when ye come to speak, you only have, 30 minutes. Okay. Whatever.
That was very good.
You like that?
Maybe not.
Or maybe not. Okay. Well, TEDx, it inspired me. Okay. 101 different ways to run a meeting. All right, you give that talk. Okay, back on task here. Sorry, gang. A total of 30 minutes is provided for members of the public to address the City Council on items that appear within the consent calendar or a matter not listed on the agenda. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. If the speaker chooses to address the City Council on an item listed on the consent calendar or a matter not listed on the agenda, a request to speak form may be filled out and filed with the City Clerk prior to the City Council addressing public comments and the consent calendar. Once the speaker is called to speak, please come forward and state your name for the record. For all public hearing or council business items on the agenda, a request to speak form may be filed with the City Clerk prior to the City Council addressing that item. Each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. Thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. Could you please call the first speaker?
Mr. Mayor, the first speaker is Thomas Lemieux, to be followed by Jerry DeYager.
Mr. Lemieux, good evening, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, City Council, for giving me this time. As a citizen of Temecula for 34 years, I've seen a lot of changes in the city, good, bad, whatever. I am bringing up an issue about transportation in the city of Temecula. There's an ordinance. I'm pretty sure that anybody that's doing transportation in the city of Temecula must have a city business license. Am I correct on that?
Keep speaking. We'll address your comments later. Go ahead.
City business license. Okay. My issue is with my daughter. We had an incident with Uber here in the city. The driver was intoxicated, not very cordial to my daughter. Now, I did some research, and there's a lot of limousine companies, a lot of transportation companies that do business here in Temecula. They're regulated under the PUC. They have to have certain regulations, drug testing, different things like, checks every month, for drugs and different issues. But I notice Uber and Lyft are not regulated. They're not regulated by any city or by the PUC. But the city of Temecula can make an issue out of business license. Although the other transportation companies that are doing business here do get a business license, the taxi companies and also the limousine companies and transportation companies. But as far as Uber is concerned, I don't think there is any qualification for them to get a business license here in Temecula. And I think it should be something that you should address because they do a lot of business here in Temecula. And it's only as a concerned citizen and as a daughter that had a issue with them, I think it's very important that you look into this matter because Uber doesn't have the greatest reputation, and basically I'd like to see this brought up and the city council and the business license look into this, because on an average we have anywhere from 15 to 30 Uberts that are working here on Friday and Saturday nights. And like I said, that's revenue for the city. If the other companies should have to pay for the city license, I think they should too. And I just wanted to get your feedback. And also, I live in Rainbow Canyon Estates. We're having a meeting there on the 30th, and I hope the city council members come there. We're going to have it over at the Temecula Creek Inn on the 30th on the project for the Temecula Creek Inn. And that affects us very highly right there in Rainbow Canyon Estate. So I wish you would put that on your calendar and attend this meeting because it's Temecula Creek sent an invitation to all the Rainbow Canyon citizens there and all along Pechanga Parkway because this is going to impact our development there. So if you can find time to do this, we'd really appreciate it.
Mr. Lemieux, any further comment?
No further comment. I would like to address the transportation.
On the issue that you brought up, this time of public comment is one where the public can address the council. It's not a time for dialogue because the law doesn't allow us to have that dialogue. But I will ask the city manager to look into that issue regarding the transportation. Uber and Lyft and the internet has created a whole new dynamic that I don't think people have worked out yet, and probably this is one of them. But if you can just do a little research into that.
Yeah, we'll look into it and we'll get back to this gentleman.
So you have my number.
Yes.
Could you give me a courtesy call and let me know what the status of that?
Absolutely.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
About the other issue, we'll hope to see you on the 30th.
Yeah, thank you for that. Next speaker, please.
Mr. Mayor, the final speaker is Jerry DeYager.
Mr. DeYager, good evening to you, sir.
Thank you. I'm a little nervous about this because I've never approached anybody or anything like this.
But you know what? Hold on. It's just us, you and us, the council. There's a few people in the audience. About 7,000 to 8,000 people watching at home, but don't let that bother you, okay?
Thank you.
All right. They're going to go, there's Jerry.
I'm looking at the sign behind you, and that's when I moved here in 1989.
Right.
There was a fruit stand on Highway 79 there, and that was it. And I love this town. I go to all the rod runs. I do everything here. But I got a big concern lately. My wife works at Stater Brothers on Temecula Parkway. My daughter works down the street on Temecula Parkway from our house. We live across from Rancho Community Church there. Since you guys tore the riverbed out here in Old Town, a lot of that homeless went my way. And they're in that riverbed out there. And they're not normal homeless. They're aggressive homeless. And my wife got approached one morning going to work at 4 in the morning, scared her half to death. The guy just wanted to grab her purse and yank on it. And they're not giving up. I've ran into 4 of them early in the morning going with her to work. I have to go to work with my wife now because the police can't get there quick enough. I talked to 2 of the officers that the city has on it, Jarrett and Todd. They're working the outreach thing. They're telling me stuff that their hands are tied too. And the homeless are getting aggressive. And it's a misdemeanor to break into a car. It's a misdemeanor to break into a house. Are you kidding me? These people are walking my neighborhood now. 5 at night, I see them. My dog's barking. They're pulling on handles of cars. And what did it finally, to make me come tonight, is my daughter 2 nights ago was coming home, and she cuts through from Walmart through Kohl's there, and a lot of them are hanging out at Kohl's. One of them came at her in her car with a metal bar, and he had a helmet on, a football helmet, and he wanted her money. She stuck it in reverse and backed up. I don't want my family scared. I've lived here all this time, and I feel like I'm scared of my own city now. We have the best graffiti team you ever seen. I've never seen it in this town. Any graffiti, it's always gone. But we can't take care of this problem? I mean, I've helped the homeless in Hicks Park where they fed them. That's homeless, that want your food. And these are not. They come up to you and they ask you for money. If you don't give it to them, they tell you to F off. And they get mad at you. And they get aggressive and they're starting to approach you. And we got 2 officers on it. That ain't enough. We got to work on this because our town is getting worse towards my way they are. I mean, they're in the car washes. People are getting ripped off at the car wash. The other day, somebody got ripped off over there. I mean, everybody's telling their same stories. I know your Facebook is full of it. The Temecula Facebook about the homeless and how aggressive they're getting. I don't want to see somebody get hurt. I now gave my wife a taser because that's what the officer told me to give her. Pepper spray don't stop them. They're high as a kite. The other night, I had 7 needles in the front of my house that were full of heroin. And I called the police officer, and the guys were out there sitting on the front curb. They don't care. They have no ID. They have nothing on them to prove who they even are. Some of them they know by name. So I really want the city to help me out on this.
Okay, Mr. Yeager, first of all, very passionate, and you spoke very well. And we definitely are hearing you. I know Chief Kubel there is in the back. He heard you. City Manager, you have this gentleman's phone number. I'd like you to call him, get some more details, okay? And we definitely will look into it, okay? And I assume somebody will be back to you by tomorrow. Is that safe? Can you do that, Mr. City Manager? Okay. In the meantime, Chief Kubel, maybe you want to download with this gentleman before he leaves tonight, see what he has to say. We're definitely concerned about something like that. And while you're at the podium, I'll tell you, just in general, you know, we've been trying to get the word out for people not to give money to the so-called homeless, not to give money to panhandlers, because it becomes good pickings here, and that's why a lot of them are here. But having said all that, okay, there's an element that doesn't want to get help. Okay, and I think you just described them.
We're #1 right now, Temecula is. #1 is the word out there for the homeless to come here from Oceanside. I've spoken to these guys, and they tell me they're coming from Oceanside because they're so giving here. The officer told me when he pulls them over, they got $400 to $500 in cash on them. They got a lot of money, but they're still taking.
You know, we're a middle-class, upper-middle-class community for the most part. We're a very generous community. Temecula has heart. We see somebody who we think is in need, and we give, and that's the type of community we are. I got to be careful I don't get into this too much, or the city attorney's gonna say, Mike, you're off the agenda. But Chief Kubel's there. City Manager will call you tomorrow, and then I'll say one last thing. Prop 47, passed by the citizens of of the state of California, has just reduced all kinds of violations down to, from felonies to misdemeanors to infractions. And as you said, going into somebody's car now is almost there's no risk to it. Okay, to commit that type of thievery. And so we're dealing with it. Everybody's dealing with it, and now we're feeling
God
it.
is a problem, though. If I do something to the homeless, he'll own me in the state of California. But if I do, you know, if he does something to me, I get nothing.
And
that's what I'm looking at.
Trust me, we feel your frustration, okay? And our officers feel that frustration as well. So, I can't deviate too much from the agenda. We've had a good dialogue.
Did the city of Temecula give all the homeless cell phones?
No.
No.
That's what the word is out there.
No.
The word is that you guys gave them all cell phones.
No.
And that's why they're sitting around with these cell phones playing on them.
No.
So that's just a hope?
No.
Okay.
No. You know what? We have city council reports. If you stick around, I'm going to mention something and maybe add a few comments to this, okay?
I'm just concerned for my family.
And you
that's
should
all
be. And so are we.
Bad. So
are we.
Thank you for your time.
Anytime.
I appreciate it. So.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, sir. Okay, any more public comments? All right, we'll move to city council reports. Anybody in the queue? Mr. Councilmember McCracken.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make this quick and to the point. This Saturday, the city is hosting a career technical education showcase from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. in a conference room here at City Hall. This showcase is set up to address the need for the workforce-ready individual of all ages. Basically, we're a great city, a lot of great programs going on, but there's always there's always a way to improve or touch on another side. So this showcase is designed for those individuals who are between jobs, whether they transfer from a different city, have a life-changing event. I'm very excited about this. So this is my field of education and finding jobs for people that's out of jobs. So come out to the event. The showcase is going to be great. I'll be there to speak and to meet you face to face. And please tell a friend this is something you want to come to. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Addressing Mr. Yeager's comments, Mr. City Manager, have we had a creek sweep in the last several months since we have completed phase 1 of the, or phase 2 of the creek?
Yeah, I think it's more than just that. I think we're one of the few cities that I know of that actually has 2 dedicated sworn deputies to a homeless outreach team, which we did about a year ago. Riverside County as a whole has 2 deputies for all of Riverside County doing nothing but homeless outreach teams. So we're very fortunate in that we have 2 deputies dedicated to this. They are monitoring the creek beds. It's a little more complicated when you start dismantling encampments, I'll just say. But we are pursuing it within the law. And it's not illegal to be homeless. And so one of the things we talk about a lot is the social complexity of homelessness. And so we hear the frustration. We know it's a challenge. We're not ignoring it. I do think it's important to remind everyone about the appropriate places to give. And I think that's part of the Responsible Compassion campaign that we're underway on as well.
That's true. And there's a second component of responsible compassion is the enforcement of regular laws in the city. And for people who choose to live on the street or who choose to live outside, they have to obey the same laws that you and I obey every day. And aggressive panhandling is not allowed, and being intoxicated in public is not allowed for me or anyone up here or any of you in the audience, and likewise it's not allowed for a homeless person. And certainly approaching anyone with a weapon, threatening them and asking for money is not allowed. So those are the things that we have to be conscious of, and our officers are aware of that. The other challenge we have is that we do not control the creeks. They are under the jurisdiction of the Army Corps of Engineers and Riverside County Flood Control and probably a couple of other agencies. So for us to have access to the creeks in the way that we would like to have access to those creeks, we have to work through those other agencies and get permission, and it's very difficult to do that. So when we do a major creek sweep, which is what is necessary to clean up large encampments, it takes the cooperation of 2 or 3 different agencies to go in and move literally tons of things out of there, bedding and trash and things like that. So it's up to Temecula Police to deal with the resulting crimes that occur because of the homeless issues. To clean out the creeks, it takes a concerted effort and cooperation with other agencies. So it is a very complex issue. But we need to know where these pockets of criminal activity are taking place. So I appreciate Mr. Yeager coming and telling us. And I appreciate the fact that we do have 2 dedicated officers that are monitoring, and it's just a matter of us being in the right place at the right time to catch them. So we need the cooperation of the public. When you give money to a homeless person in Temecula, you are helping to fund, typically you're helping to fund their drug addiction or other activity that is not desirable. Any homeless person in Temecula can receive any types of services they want for free. The city has made arrangements for that, and all they have to do is go to the Temecula Pantry over on Pujol Street and talk to the people from Project Mission of Hope, and they will get free housing, free medical care, free drug counseling, everything it takes to get them back to self-sufficiency at no cost to that individual. So there's no excuse to be homeless in Temecula. The city of Temecula doesn't want people to be homeless. It's inhumane for people to live in those conditions, and we are here to help at no charge to those people. But for those who choose to be homeless, and it is a choice, then they must obey the same laws that everyone else must obey. So that's where we are.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, we're probably ready for another sweep of some sort. If we can contact Riverside County Flood Control, not necessarily where the new construction is occurring for the flood improvements, but certainly most likely Santa Gertrudis Creek and Temecula Creek.
And Pechanga Creek.
And Pechanga Creek. And I think if you need to bring back an agenda item, bring it back. I don't know that you're going to need to, but post it that there's going to be an abatement. Get down there with the off-road vehicles, have a CR&R Packer truck accessible from the right-of-way, and anybody who doesn't leave when the abatement time comes gets their stuff packed up and thrown away. It's just really that simple, and I just don't want to hear any more complaints like we just heard. Okay, and if you need an agenda item to get consensus by the council, which I don't think you need to, okay, but I just don't want to hear that anymore, okay? Thank you. Any other council comments? All right, very good. Let's move on to the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There'll be no discussion of these items unless members of the City Council request specific items be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. 1, waive reading of standard ordinances and resolutions. 2, approve the action minutes of August 9, 2016. 3, approve the list of demands. 4, adopt an ordinance 16-07, amending section 10.16.200 of the Temecula Municipal Code prohibiting the parking of vehicles under certain conditions at parking lots owned or controlled by the City of Temecula. This is a second reading. 5, approve a joint community facilities agreement with Eastern Municipal Water District and Regent Nicholas 73, LLC, relating to Eastern Municipal Water District's Community Facilities District number 2013-63, Belterra Arbor Vista. 6, approve the Third Amendment to the Agreement for Consulting Services with Environmental Sciences Associates for an environmental impact report for the Altair specific plan. I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
That was Mayor Pro Tem Edwards. Councilmember Comachero on the second. Please cast your vote. And that passes 5-0. At this time, I'm going to recess the Temecula City Council meeting in favor of Temecula Community Services District meeting and President Jeff Comachero.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to call this meeting of the Temecula Community Services District to order. Madam Clerk, we are all here, so we'll dispense with the roll. Do we have any public comments? Okay, and we'll dispense with that as well. We have 2 items under the consent calendar. Item 7, consider approval of the action minutes of August 9, 2016. And item 8, approve a sponsorship agreement with the Temecula Valley Women's Club for use of the Community Recreation Center kitchen.
Move approval.
We have a motion.
I'll take the second.
Motion by Mrs. Edwards, a second by Mr. McCracken. Please cast your votes. That motion does carry unanimously. Mr. Hawkins, what have you got for us tonight?
I have nothing. Thank you. The look of shock.
Wow. Well, in that case, how you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you, sir. How are you doing, Mr. President?
Good, thank you. Mr. Adams, anything further?
Nothing tonight.
Okay, any board member comments? Dr. Ron.
Just one, but it's more appropriate under community services, but I wanted to thank Jim for presenting this evening on the TEDx event. Hope to see folks there and would really encourage the council to, hopefully Jim, you'll send everybody an email. I'll be supporting the event and I encourage my colleagues to do the same. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Matt. Any further comments? Seeing none, we will entertain a motion to adjourn to the next meeting of September 13th.
Move adjournment.
Cool.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned.
At this time, we'll reconvene the Temecula City Council meeting. Item 9, introduce an ordinance amending section 10.28.010D of the Temecula Municipal Code regarding prima facie speed limits on certain streets. Can we have a staff report, please?
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, the California Vehicle Code requires that jurisdictions review speed limits every 7 years based on an engineering and traffic survey. The survey provides the mechanism for legal enforcement of the posted speed limit. 42 segments were studied, 16 segments had their speed limits increased and 3 were reduced. In addition, speed limits were established on 7 road segments where no speed limit had been previously posted. Staff recommends adoption of the ordinance regarding the prima facie speed limits in the Temecula streets, and I would be happy to answer any questions regarding this item.
Are there any questions of staff at this time? One question by Councilmember Comachero.
Yeah, Tom, in looking particularly at La Serena Way, we've got that broken up into 3 segments.
That's correct.
That were surveyed, and we, until the survey, I believe it was 45-mile-an-hour speed limit for each of those segments.
That's correct.
And now we're recommending reducing the one on this end to 40, the one on this end to 40, and the one in the middle increased to 50. Is there any concern there about, I mean, doesn't that create a difficulty for drivers? Is there, I mean, it's not that long a stretch of road to have 3 different segments with 3 different speed limits.
The way that the segments were broken up are by control points, either signals or stop signs. So within those segments, there is a control at either end. The speed limit in the first segment that's going from 45 to 40 was measured between those 2 distinct stopping points. That's why the speed limit was reduced. That's what the 85th percentile was. From Meadows up to Walcott, that came up at around just above 50 miles an hour, so it was actually, I believe, 52.6, and it was reduced down to 50 by we reduced it down to 50. We could have gone to 55 or 50. The recommendation was to go to 50, but that was the 85th percentile on that segment between the signal and the stop sign at Walcott. So that is a distinct roadway segment with its own unique characteristics. That's why the traveling public felt comfortable traveling at 50 mile an hour.
If I may, I understand the methodology, but as a practical matter, are we mandated to survey segments like that, or could we have surveyed the entire length of La Serena?
We are mandated to survey the segment between the 2 distinct stopping points. The natural break is at the control points for those roadways. If we had surveyed from Meadowview out to Butterfield Stage, it would likely not be enforceable because those are separate, distinct segments of roadways, each with their own unique characteristics. The fact that we have established that they do have unique characteristics and that there is a different speed for each of those segments would make enforcement of the lower speed limit along any one of them not enforceable.
So is it fair to say that once again we're subject to ridiculous regulation by the state of California?
We are subject to the California Vehicle Code.
I mean, that's really silly, but anyway, I understand.
Councilmember Ron?
Yeah, just to follow up on that, you know, I had the same sort of questions earlier and read the staff report and then did some sort of reading on my own of what the law is in California, and it was a fascinating read. You know, the way, you know, we received some emails from residents and other folks concerned about raising speed limits. And one of the things I was hoping, you know, as a sort of a question here is if you could explain when you say with the 85th percent, what you're actually referring to, because there's, you know, I think our hands are tied in a lot of respects with some of the state laws around this, and I don't think the public adequately understands the issue of why we had to do what we're doing.
The 85th percentile is 85% of the traffic is traveling at that speed.
Or lower.
The outliers are on either side of that 85th percentile curve. If we establish a speed limit that's outside of that 85th percentile, the California Vehicle Code states that's a speed trap and it's unenforceable.
Right. But just to be clear, that 85th percentile is based on folks not driving the speed limit.
It's based on free flow traffic in that segment, and there are specific locations that we have to take that are recognized as being where you should be taking those readings. Right. It has to be in a straight segment, in unencumbered by visual friction, and it has to be at a non-peak hour where there is free flow available.
Right. I guess so. My point is that it's sort of interesting that the analysis that's being done is based on folks not actually driving the posted speed limit, and so you're actually being forced by the state of California to alter our speed limits in the city based on our residents or, visitors potentially driving on our streets at a speed limit that's not posted. And then our response to that is following the California state law on making those adjustments to those speed limits, and then our residents contact us having concerns about raising speed limits or whatever in certain areas, saying you're posing an unsafe condition or so forth, and yet this condition was actually created by potentially the residents themselves, right? So I just want that to be clear, is that this isn't an arbitrary decision on our part that we're just raising speed limits across the city, that there's a very odd and I would say unfortunate set of laws that guide our or force our decision making in this circumstance.
The speed limits are set by the driver behavior.
Correct.
We are reflecting what the traveling public is doing.
Marianne Edwards.
That was one of my favorite things about being on the Traffic Commission, because when we would get letters from residents, I would always email back and said, do you know who sets the speed limits in Temecula? And the answer was always, you do. And that's really the truth. And someplace in the vehicle code it says, or best practices for traffic engineers, that drivers will drive at a speed that they feel is safe for the road conditions that they're driving on. And so the state uses that as the standard. And that's what sets the speed limit, whether it's even if we post the speed limit at a certain speed, they still drive at what they feel is a safe standard. And that's barring any narrowing or traffic calming measures being applied to that street. So it's the drivers that set the speed, and then the 85th percentile is applied to that, so you drop the top 15%, and that gives you the 85th. And then we have the flexibility of either raising it, if it falls in the middle between a 0 and a 5, we have the flexibility of either lowering it to the closest, if it's 33, we can lower it to 30, or we can raise it to 35. And that's the law. And if we don't comply with that, we cannot enforce any traffic violations or speed violations on that street, or in this case, on that segment of street. And it's that simple.
Is that a statement or a question?
That was a statement, and I can put a question mark on the end if you'd like.
You need to now.
Yeah. So do we have any options?
No.
No.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay. I think we have one speaker. Madam City Clerk, can you call that speaker?
Mr. Mayor, we have one speaker, George DeLeo.
George, always a pleasure. It's been too long. We haven't seen you in a while.
It has been a while.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, and staff. It's been a long time, by the way. I guess I'm back. I'm going to read my comments because at age 84, I need all the help I can get. I am George DeLeo of 32871 Rivado Street in Paseo del Sol. I am also Paseo del Sol Homeowner Association District 6 delegate. I am speaking for myself and residents in my district and not for the HOA. I do not speak for the HOA on the speed issue, and also I'm sure that most residents in Temecula are against increased speed limits. It is no longer enjoyable driving in our great city due to erratic and dangerous driving habits of many Temecula drivers. They ignore speed limits on all roads such as Temecula Parkway, Meadows Road, Margarita Road, Red Hawk Drive, Rancho California Road, Butterfield Stage Road, and DePortola Road. Those roads are out of control with speed limit and other traffic law violations. A prime example is Temecula Parkway and its 55 limit, where vehicles constantly drive in excess of 60 miles per hour in that whole area. It's time we took back control of our roads to make it a pleasure to drive without being cut off or constantly being flashed with the bird for doing the speed limit. It is time that we started mitigating residents' quality of life, right to peace and quiet, and our right to take a leisurely drive along the Portola Road, which was once an enjoyable, scenic country road. Some may say this is progress. I say it is regression and officials ignoring people comfort and rights. With all due respect, it's time Temecula officials started mitigating resident comfort rather than traffic. Those choosing to live in a great bedroom community like ours cannot compensate for the effect of their choice at the expense of resident comfort rights. We must begin listening to the people who are waking up at the ballot box. That includes the Planning Commission. I will be returning to the next meeting with a petition containing in excess of 150 signatures concerning a Planning Commission decision, which is an expression of the people's frustration. We should be reducing speed limits, not increasing. I've lived in 6 states plus California while with the FAA. I've never lived in a city or town with 55-mile-per-hour limits within city limits, including New York City. By the way, the lower speed limit on Red Hawk Road, glad you're reducing it. It's got to be enforced, though. The question arises about, I think Ms. Edwards rose the question about residents, or it was you that did that, determining the speed limit and then the state forcing us to do it. Well, I kind of disagree with that. The reason the residents are allowed to do that is because we don't enforce the laws. If we ignore Temecula Parkway and people can drive at 65, well, let's drive at 65. And then a few months later, somebody comes along and says, wait a minute, the state says they've been driving at 65 miles an hour. I would say, why the heck didn't we enforce the law? And then they wouldn't be able to make their own rules. So that's a point to remember when we discuss this kind of situation. And that's the end of my conversation on it. I would invite all of you, if you think that Temecula Parkway is not out of control, visit some of the homes along Temecula Parkway, sit in their backyards, you'll never see anybody in their backyard, and listen to the noise and the speed of the traffic, which is completely out of control. Thank you. Appreciate you listening.
Thank you, Mr. DeLeo. Are there any other speakers? Okay, we'll open it up to council discussion. Dr. Ron.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for your comments. So you know, it's kind of been an interesting evening, and I think it settles on one of the core issues that we're struggling with today. And what you said, no disrespect meant, is that it's a bit of a circular argument, right? We don't have ability always to enforce because our officers are you know, busy with other higher duties, right? One of the central issues to that is that the city is currently, 10 officers shy of where we actually need to be. Part of that's related to the rising costs of, you know, public safety. And, you know, at the same time, you know, we have Prop 47, early release of prisoners, so forth. You compound the problem because now we're adding to those duties, you know, of our law enforcement public safety, a significant additional burden with understaffing. And it comes at a significant cost to us. You heard earlier the issues related to homeless encampments and so forth. And again, that comes at a significant cost to the city to be able to manage and maintain and monitor and enforce. And so, you know, one of our quality of life issues is being able to maintain that level of public safety and services through police protection, fire protection, and others. And so I'd love to be able to say that, yeah, we have more traffic stops and more enforcement of our speed limits and so forth. But the reality is our law enforcement are tied up with a lot of other issues as well. And so one of the solutions to that is, of course, being able to hire the right level of staffing for the city and to be able to have those funds to do so. And so I absolutely understand where you're coming from. We'll be talking later about you know, the public safety subcommittee and so forth. This is a issue at the forefront of all of our minds right now. And you know, and it's unfortunate because, you know, at the same time that we're trying to struggle with local control, You know, the state of California places a lot of mandates on us, unfunded mandates, and then takes away that, quite frankly, takes away that local control and forces us to make decisions like you see here tonight that, candidly, I don't agree with. But unfortunately, you're put in a position of saying, you know, do we ignore the traffic study and lower speed limits for all the reasons, sir, that you mentioned earlier, or do we run the risk of you know, being in non-compliance with state law and sued over that? And it's an unfortunate situation for us to be in. So we hear you loud and clear. This is definitely a higher priority for all of us on the council and city manager's office and all our departments. I'd like to, you know, after today's discussion, be able to kick some of this back to our Traffic and Safety Commission and to the Planning Commission as well, and maybe have them, you know, have some open forum or discussion among themselves and see if we can, you know, come up with some ideas. And I wouldn't be offended if we maybe brought this up to our friends at this year's League of Cities meeting as an issue, and see if other cities are struggling with these same types of concerns, and see what solutions might be out there that we haven't come across yet. So again, thank you for your comments, and thank you for all indulging me for a few minutes.
Thank you. Councilmember Comachero.
Thank you, Matt, because I think you expressed that the same thing that all of us are thinking. It's very frustrating. I mean, here we are, we're listening to an elegant report of what's happening out there in the community, and we have no choice up here but to either disobey the law or do what we don't want to do and what you don't want us to do. Doesn't happen too often up here, but it happens probably more than it should. And the truth of the matter is, I don't want to get on a soapbox, but Sacramento and the folks up there think they know what's best for our cities more so than we do, and they jam things down our throat, and far too much, and it gets very frustrating. This is one of those times. But that aside, I think we know what we have to do. We don't have much choice here. But I would like to go back to that issue of La Serena for a moment, because it does concern me. We're going to do what we have to do, I assume, but that whole notion, and I ride on that road a lot from Margarita to Butterfield, and the notion of a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit between this stoplight and this stop sign, and then a 50-mile-an-hour to the next stop sign. I heard from a citizen today who told me she thought that an awful lot of cars today are running that stop sign in the middle of the middle segment because it's difficult to see. I'm not so sure it's that difficult to see, but I am concerned if now the speed limit is greater and if that's already happening. So, Mr. City Manager and Tom, if you would take a look at that, see what line of sights are. Personally, I think they're okay, but take a look. But nonetheless, it wouldn't hurt for us to put something, and we've done it in other areas, whether it's some flashing lights around the stop sign to make it more visible, or a warning in the road, stop ahead, or, you know, we have a few options there, and let's look at doing something there that makes sense and be proactive, so we don't have to have somebody come in here and say, see, I told you something was going to happen, and it did. That's not the way we like to do things here, so I appreciate that.
Any other comments? Then, if it's the will of the council, we'll need a motion to introduce the ordinance.
So moved, reluctantly.
So that's Councilmember Comachero moved to introduce the ordinance, and a second by Ms. Edwards. Mr. City Attorney?
Yes, this is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Temecula, amending Section 10.28.010D of the Temecula Municipal Code regarding prima facie speed limits on certain streets.
Thank you. If you can, if we can get our vote panel up, Ms. City Clerk. There we go. And that passes 5-0. Moving on to item 10. Consider establishment of a City Council Public Safety Recognition Ad Hoc Subcommittee. I believe this was perhaps put on at my request or the council's request from last meeting. Can we have a brief staff report?
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Yes, it was. At the August 9th, 2016 meeting, the City Council provided general direction for staff to bring back an action item for the City Council's consideration related to the establishment of a Public Safety Recognition Ad Hoc Subcommittee. Similar to the other ad hoc subcommittees, 2 members of the council would be appointed to serve on the proposed committee. The need for this ad hoc subcommittee arose from the desire of the City Council on August 9th and communities to support and recognize law enforcement efforts through a Blue Ribbon campaign to be held in September and October of 2016. An additional need exists for the committee to evaluate a capital improvement program CIP project related to the construction of a public safety memorial. Therefore, it is recommended that the City Council establish the Public Safety Recognition Ad Hoc Subcommittee, appoint 2 members of the City Council to serve on said committee, and approve the committee description as referenced in your staff report to be incorporated in the City Council's existing list of subcommittee appointments.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff right now? Then I'm going to go ahead and suggest that myself and Councilmember Ron serve on that unless anybody else has any desire. Another reason why we wanted to form this was, again, there was a mild protest from CDF firefighters that they're severely underpaid in relation to other fire departments, and they're trying to lobby Sacramento to get their pay changed, and we wanted to talk about that as well.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
Here we go.
For discussion?
Yes, go ahead.
The description of the subcommittee focuses on the recognition piece. Is that, you know, how that's how I've read it, correct? But part of our conversation last time had to do with sort of recognizing some of the other issues within the community related to public safety, beyond just the recognition and support of our police, fire, paramedics, and so forth, that it be expanded a little bit to also incorporate some of the key talking points that we have. So maybe we could have a subcommittee that addresses like exactly what we're, you know, sort of addressing here today with regard to the speed issue or homelessness or whatever. So I'm wondering, you know, what would need to be done to sort of expand the definition of that committee?
You've just done it.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
If we're changing the definition or the scope of the ad hoc subcommittee, Mr. Thorson can weigh in. I think we're creating more of a standing subcommittee for public safety, as what I'm hearing, which then leads it to a noticed subcommittee based on the definition and scope of the work. So if that's the desire of the City Council, then certainly we can make that adjustment and that change. It just changes it from ad hoc to standing.
Sure.
Go ahead, Councilmember Edwards.
Well, and I have the question, then wouldn't it make sense to include on that committee, you've already have 2 people. If you're going to expand, it seems to me that the person that has been the liaison to traffic and safety and public safety for all these years would be the person that you might want to serve on that. So that would be me.
Well, and I have no problem with that. You know, if you recall the last meeting, I didn't really want to form a subcommittee or even bring an agenda item because I just wanted to address what I thought was a real problem with CDS firefighters. They're underpaid. We become a training ground, okay? And people come and it's a revolving door because they can get better jobs elsewhere. It needs to be rectified. It can't be rectified on our level, okay? But we need to go ahead and start, if it's our desire as a council, start saying to Sacramento, listen, you got to rectify this, okay? Because we're paying for it either way. We're paying for it in getting in training, or we're paying for it in lost season personnel. That was my desire. Councilmember Ron wanted to expand this to explore other public safety issues.
Well, and you actually hit on you know, one of those core issues, right? So I guess what I'm trying to get at is, you know, we don't need to usurp any authority or discussion out of traffic safety or others. What we're trying to get at is, under that definition of recognition, could you know, take a, you know, develop a position letter, say, that says, you know, hey, here's where we are with issues regarding pay for firefighters in the state of California, or, you know, I got to say, and I've said this before, the TriData report that was published on Riverside County, there are some very serious technical flaws in that report that I strongly disagree with. You know, and I at some point would like to see that there's you know, a letter back to the county or the consultants to say, you know, no, we don't agree with your report, and here's why it's not appropriate for the city of Temecula. So, you know, so it goes beyond, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it's important to recognize those that provide such a valuable public service, but also, you know, in that vein, are we able to provide a different level of support or recognition for them that, you know, sort of bolsters some of our own thoughts on what public safety means for our city. And indeed, I think we're in a unique position because we do contract for police and fire services, and while they are Temecula Fire Department and Temecula Police Department, you know, it puts us in a rather unique position. And much like with what we dealt with, you know, when Council Member Comachero was mayor, you know, sort of addressing some of the broader public safety issues that do arise throughout the year. You know, I think it's an important role that we could probably undertake, but I'm not confident that the definition that we have right now for the ad hoc subcommittee appropriately covers those issues.
Thank you. Councilmember Comachero.
I think we're on a slippery slope here. We have a very strong structure when it comes to council subcommittees, and over the years we've tried to include just about everything we could think of in one subcommittee or another. And so if we're looking at a broad definition here, where is there duplication? Because I think invariably there is. And we talk about homelessness, and we already have a subcommittee dealing with homelessness, and there are some other issues. So my recommendation would be to go with the definition as is. That doesn't necessarily mean we shouldn't, and I don't know how many times over the years we've done this, but to take a look at our overall subcommittee structure, and maybe there is room to tighten that up. But I think if we do that here tonight without a whole lot of thought, we're just putting tentacles out in all kinds of different areas and we're going to have conflicts.
So may I make this, and Councilmember Ron, actually go ahead.
No, and that's, I think, really the point is, you know, does the definition adequately capture a couple of those core issues that were brought up at our last meeting? Because, you know, the discussion was a little bit broader than just, you know, the recognition of the officers and so forth. And Mayor, you brought up the issue of the pay parity concerns brought up at the last meeting. So does that definition, I guess that's what I'm asking for clarity, is that definition of this ad hoc subcommittee adequately create an umbrella to address those other issues? And my concern is maybe not.
You know what though, I'll tell you. First of all, it's a genuine concern, but I think we handle it this way. And I think this covers the slippery slope that you brought up. You know what, we'll deal with it as it comes. Nothing we do as a subcommittee is going to be done in a vacuum. We're going to report back to the city council anyway. If an issue comes up that we think is a wobbler, okay, we'll work it out. Okay, I don't think we need to worry about that right now, and I think that
yeah, I agree,
yeah.
And there may be times when, let's say you are the subcommittee and you start to get into an issue that is really the purview of another committee, then you'll know it, or staff will know it, and somebody will say, well, hey, wait a minute, let's refer that to the X subcommittee. Or maybe the X subcommittee says, you know what, you guys are a little bit far down that road, why don't you take it? So we've been good at that over the years. You know, I don't think we want intentional conflict on the front end.
Right. And I think we'll recognize that, like you said, along the way. Councilmember Brown, is that okay with you?
No, fair enough. That
Okay.
works.
So I'll turn back. I have no real desire to co-op a subcommittee. In fact, like I said, I wasn't even really wanting to do it, but I did want to address the pay parity issue. I think it's very important. And of course, I got myself involved willingly on the police officer recognition. And so if it's okay with you, I'd just like to continue and get those things done. Then I'd abdicate. Is that okay?
I'd like to remind everyone, too, that at the beginning of the year, or just a few months ago, we talked about getting our representatives or the council members assigned to commissions more involved with working with those commissions. And this is a perfect opportunity for that to take place, is to hand over some of those things to the commissions and have council members assigned to those things be active in that role. rather than forming a separate subcommittee, because now you've got a subcommittee working on public safety when it's probably under the purview of the Traffic and Safety Commission. Certainly, speed limits on streets is within the purview of the Traffic and Safety Commission, and they do it.
I think we're
and they do it
talking
all the
about
time.
that. I mean, if we take
But-
we brought up 3 core issues, peace officer and firefighters, et cetera, and everything under that umbrella, recognition. We talked about pay parity. What was the third one? There was a third issue. City clerk, what was it?
Oh, the tri-data report.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
you brought that up. And so those are strictly policy issues. I don't think that's a commission issue. The commission can't make recommendations on those things.
No, and the only reason I jumped in was because there, Matt mentioned something else that I thought would fall under the purview of the Traffic and Safety Commission.
But I think that's
And-
off the
and it's-
plate now. I mean, I
Right.
was trying to see what is the
And it's
what is
those
the scope
times-
and scale of what we're talking
And
about.
it's those times I
Right.
think that we have to be careful, because
Yeah.
that's what our commissions
Yeah,
are for.
and I was going to chime in. You and I sit on the homeless task force thing, and so there's some crossover, and I knew that we would just deal with it. And anyway, I think we're good. Let's not belabor this. Any other comments on this issue? Is there any problem with Councilmember Ron and myself serving on this commission?
Oh, no.
Okay, all right. Then that's my motion.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Did we modify it at all? I mean, during the discussion, never got changed, right?
No,
No,
we did not.
Yeah.
All right.
The motion and the second was on the staff recommendation.
Okay. There we go. And that passes 5-0. Good discussion, and thank you. Let's see here. Departmental reports, board and commission reports. Mr. Hagel, talk to us.
We're meeting Thursday night, so I have nothing new to add.
Okay, very good. You'll let them know about some of the discussion we've had?
I shall.
I knew you would. Mr. Schwank.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wasn't really going to talk about this tonight, but I think being National Preparedness Month, I think I will. I took the first aid class the city offered on Saturday, and it was a good experience. Happy that the city offers it. Yesterday, there was a boy scootering, leaving Temecula Middle School. He ends up crashing, cuts his face, his eye, his nose is bleeding. So I'm thinking back to when I was sitting in that class and go, what do you do? It's like, okay, so I got my first aid kit and I went over and helped him. And I really felt like that day prepared for yesterday. So I thought it was really good. I want to encourage the community to get involved with that, get involved with CERT and the CPR AED. So I just thought it was interesting to take the class, and 2 days later there's a boy that needs you. And when his mother pulled up, she's in tears, so thankful that he's okay and someone's there. So I thought it was relevant. The Community Services Department is often recognized for our big events, but what we do is a lot of really good small events. We had the Build a Boat Regatta last week. Mayor Pro Tem was there. And I just really think it's a fantastic event.
It was really
and
fun.
I want to give kudos to Director Hawkins and his staff for putting events together like this that are really just at the core of our community, where families can get together, build a cardboard boat and try to sail it. It just is a great event that I'm happy that we do. There was a little bit of talk about commissioners being involved and council members as well. So we'd love to see you out there next year building a boat.
I have the design
that-
in mind.
that
I
is
have
a-
the design already in mind.
Subtle
Telling
challenge. So that is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Schwank. Mr. Garrio, tell us what's going on with the Planning Commission.
Well, thank you for keeping me to the end, because I have absolutely nothing to report because we haven't met at all this month.
Okay.
But going back to community and the CERT program, just a bit of history. 1991, 92, we tried to put this together. We actually had 60 community members sign up for it, but for lack of funding for training at that time, it kind of disbanded. So it really makes me feel great to see that this program has come around as far as it has. Huntington Beach probably has one of the biggest and most organized CERT programs probably in the country, which is where I got my start. So it's really great to see our people doing what they're doing. It's important. But other than that, have a nice night.
Thank you. A quick comment on CERT and what you just said. You know, we really didn't get into it, but about 2 years ago, maybe a little longer, we updated our emergency preparedness manual. And, you know, most people don't know, but we got a manual. It lists everything, you know, in the event of emergency. We've looked at earthquakes, you know, when the freeways, bridges collapse and we're isolated, et cetera. To the degree the city can be, we're ready, but I think it bears mention, the old adage was have 3 days worth of food and water, and we've changed that and said 30 days worth of food and water. Have it ready. I know it sounds like alarmist, but that's what it's going to take. So anyway, go ahead.
Well, we've experienced a couple of times since incorporation where hazardous materials have shut our city down.
That's right.
Provided. And people don't understand how much hazardous materials is transported on that 15 freeway.
That's right.
They'd be shocked if they did, and they should be.
That's right.
And it's really difficult to get prepared for something like that. Our fire department does a remarkable job. CAL FIRE has great equipment. But if something that major goes down, it has quite an impact. So the more people in the community that become involved in this program and become aware of these issues, the better off the community at large is going to be. So like everybody else, I encourage the community to become involved in these programs.
Very good, thanks. And then I have one last comment, Mr. DeLeo. It's Mr. Garrio. He's on the Planning Commission. Okay, I know you're talking about petitions and all that. You might want to corral him and give him an earful if he did something you don't like, okay? All right? Oh, you're very welcome. All right, well, the two of you are here. Ron Guerrero, George DeLeo. There you go. All right. Mr. City Manager, do you have a report for us?
Nothing tonight.
All right. Mr. City Attorney.
Yes, we had no action report from closed session tonight.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my colleagues on the dais, it's always the time that we get to when these meetings have to come to an end.
Move adjourned.
Do I have a second? There's no second. Oh, we got a second by Councilmember McCracken. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.